covering money laundering tutorial. Okay, so as I mentioned to you, money laundering is very important. So I want to go through with you for the tutorial question, and then I hope you prepare well for the test. Okay, so based on the tutorial, okay, we will start with grapes. Okay, for money laundering question. Okay, so grapes here, we will only go to the relevant part, which is under part number C. Okay, so I will highlight for you. 1 second. I have to convert the file for a bit first. Okay, so let's continue now. So we are going to cover grapes, the first question for today. So the relevant question will be C. Okay, they are specific regulatory obligation imposed on accountant and auditor in relation to detect and report and detecting and reporting money laundering activity, and you have asked to provide a training section to the new audit junior on audit responsibility in relation to the money laundering. Okay, so here require first thing, what do they ask you? They ask you to explain the term of money laundering. Okay, for your level, definition only worth 1 mark. If you write a lot, also maximum can get 1 mark only. Okay, and the second one, they ask you illustrate your explanation with example of money laundering offenses, including those could be committed by the accountant. Okay, example of the money laundering. What I mean by example of money laundering? Can you write all the drug trafficking, gold smuggling, something like that? Yes, you can. Okay, by accountant mean by management lah, by someone from the company. Okay, explain the policy and procedure a firm of chartered certified accountant. Last week I mentioned to you policy and procedure, okay, are similar to anti-money laundering program. If you still remember, okay, remember 4 ways, okay, to overcome the problem. Okay, appointment of MLRO, enhanced record keeping, and extra. I hope you still remember, no? Okay, so that firm should establish in order to meet responsibility in relation to the money laundering. So now the problem if you had 10 marks. Okay, so here money laundering, what do you call money laundering explanation? Okay, I told you 1 mark. So we have 9 marks left. Okay, and then policy and procedure, the sub 2, the one, you only have 4 components. Okay, 4 components. So how are you going to allocate? So for me, okay, I can put the policy and procedure 1.5 mark each. Okay, second one 1.5 mark each, and the leftover will be go to, okay, explanation and example for money laundering. No? Okay, here ACCA doesn't specific how many points should you give. Okay, so you can adjust by yourself. So it's a good thing. Okay, so 10 marks. So let's see how the answer look like. Okay, so briefing note. If they ask you to prepare briefing note, then you just prepare a briefing note, the title. Okay, you have subject, money laundering policy procedure. Okay, if they give you professional mark in exam, okay, can you see professional mark? They expect you to come up with certain format lah. Okay, introduction, conclusion, okay, and also the title. Okay, I'll give you the full answer, no worry. Okay, so introduction mean you can put any relevant introduction that related to the anti-money laundering program. Okay, so this one is not the issue lah. Okay, so what mean by definition? We go back to the question. What mean by definition of money laundering? Definition standard already. You can copy, you can memorize from the lecture note. Exactly the same. So what is money laundering? It's a process which criminal attempt to conceal. They try to hide the true origin and the ownership of the proceed of criminal activity. Okay, they will hide the activity and then they earn money from illegal activity. Okay, so it is a way in which money earned from criminal activity, so-called dirty money, and transferred and transformed to appear become legitimate, become clean money. Okay, so it is under cash form. Okay, normally money laundering will be under why cash? Because difficult to trace. Okay, by the authority or auditor. Okay, so illustration. I told you here money laundering example include what? You can put anything lah. In my lecture note, I have a lot. What do they do? Sorry. They sell the proceeds of criminal activity like drug trafficking, terrorist activity. Okay, they try to run the tax. Okay, bribery or corruption like politics, okay, like inciting aiding counseling or counseling such activity, okay, and extra. You don't need to write too much because the mark is not okay, it's quite less lah. Okay, and then students say, sir, can I also give 3 stages of money laundering or not as an example? Can, but the mark is very less only lah. So you can give me placement. Okay, what is placement? Okay, I told you last week they place illegal cash into where? Financial system. Then you get mark already, no? Okay, but in exam, if it come out, you have to write in very detail, depend on the mark. And I have to say, my lecture note, my tutorial answer do not, okay, guarantee can get full mark. Sometimes I want you to come up with your own explanation, own example. I want to see whether you can impress me or not. Okay, please take note. Okay, if you never get full mark in exam, you say, sir, why cannot get full mark? I copy from your note ma. A copying is not a right way lah. Okay, you have to give me, impress me. Okay, so layering. So what I mean by layering? I told you, they try to separate the money from origin. They do not transfer to financial system. Where? By moving money quickly to different area. I told you last week already. Different area. The keyword. Okay, and then last stage. Integration. What is integration? After placement and layering, the money come back. They integrate to become clean. Okay, so you can see where the money is returned to the criminal from what she to become legitimate source. Legitimate source means what? Become clean. Well, you process dirty money, you process, you put here and then you deposit in your restaurant account. You say it's earned by the restaurant and now become clean. No? Okay, so the criminal proceeds are now fully integrated into a financial system and can for use for any purpose. Okay, so this is the point that you can write 3 stages. Okay, so the rest here you can look by yourself. Okay, so now I want to go to the policy and procedure, how to overcome. Okay, a policy and procedure here. Okay, so the first one I also mentioned to you last week, appointment of MLRO. Okay, keyword if you memorize this, I want you to know, okay, who is this person? What is their responsibility? Okay, so the first one, MLRO is a nominated officer, nominated in the audit firm, okay, who is responsible receiving and evaluate the money laundering. from their colleague within the firm. What I mean by colleague? Okay, let's say my audit team go to audit ABC company. Okay, I found out there is money laundering. So I report back to my audit firm, MLRO. Lor. So this is called colleague. Lor. Okay, and then they will make decision whether to inquiry is needed and if it's necessary to report to the appropriate external body. Okay, crime agency lah. Okay, in Malaysia you have another name. Okay, and you also have to know, who is qualified to be MLRO? Appropriate level of seniority. Okay, and experience should be a senior partner. Okay, higher level. Okay, senior partner. Okay, if you are not higher level, then you might be lack of experience. Okay. Next one, client or customer identification procedure. Okay, which means as an audit partner, as an audit firm, before you accept the new client, you have to know your client procedure. Okay, why? Because you want to verify the identity of the client first. Okay, whether whether they are involved they have been involved any illegal activity or not. Okay, what do you review? The evidence will be passport, driving license, evidence of address, like utility bill, and extra. You want to make sure this person is valid. Okay, for entity, okay, what do you check? You check their certificate of incorporation, make sure they really have license to operate. Okay, and the next one will be enhanced record keeping. I also mentioned to you last week. Okay, enhanced record keeping means what? After I finish auditing ABC company, how many years should I keep for all the record? I told you last week, 5 years. At least 5 years. Okay, 5 years for the reference. And if they also have money laundering record, should they also keep? Yes, also for 5 years. Okay, internal and external report made in connection to money laundering should also be securely kept for 5 years. Okay, and the next one will be communication and training. This one very easy. Okay, so the audit firm, the MLRO team might have to provide training to the audit staff. Okay, so that the audit staff know who to communicate. You see the keyword communication. Who to communicate when they discover money laundering or when they suspect money laundering. Who do they communicate? They communicate with MLRO. If junior auditor, who do they communicate first? Senior auditor. Okay, so can they report to the management? No, they cannot. I told you, if you report to the management means what? Tipping off. Tipping off is a serious offense. Okay, so you can see now all relevant employees receive training so they know aware about main provision of money laundering regulation. And they know how to recognize and deal with the money laundering. Can see or not? Okay, so this is the thing that you have to be aware. So add extra here lah. Okay, training should be provided relation to the money laundering. Okay, so they have appropriate line of communication. Who should they report the money laundering activity? Yeah lah. This answer I already mentioned to you just now verbally. Okay, so conclusion, you just close it. Okay, it can seem that the firm need to have in place appropriate measure to ensure that complex anti-money regulation is adhered to. Okay, so it is a responsibility of all relevant staff to be alert for suspicious activity and understand their own responsibility to report the activity. So failing to do so will place the individual and the firm in the reach of regulation. Just a closing. Okay. Then student ask, sir, if I write conclusion, how many marks can I get? Conclusion, 1 mark. Introduction, 1 mark. Okay. And then the title and the flow. Okay, everything, whether you organize or not, 2 marks maximum. You will cap to 2 marks. Okay. So not difficult, right? You can see it's quite easy. Okay, if come out money laundering question, do your best. Okay, so let's go to the next question for today. Nate and Co. So Nate and Co. will only focus on money laundering part. Okay, so here A lor. Define money laundering and state the procedure specific to money laundering that should be considered before and on acceptance of the appointment of official co. Okay, class, for your information, for my tutorial, I will use past year question. And past year question, one question, there's a mixture of different topics. That's why I have to look one by one and scan and look for the relevant, the question for you guys. It's not easy lah. Okay, so here, define money laundering. I already mentioned to you how many mark? 1 mark. Okay, we already went through just now. Okay, the criminal try to convert the dirty money into clean money. How they convert? 3 stages, blah blah blah. Okay, so second one, state the procedure specific to money laundering that should be considered before and on acceptance. Okay, so before accept the client what should auditor do? On the acceptance what should auditor do? Easy law. Before acceptance means what? Know your client client identification lor. Okay, so here you have 5 mark. 1 mark will go for definition and 4 mark will go for before and on acceptance the procedure. Okay, so definition, this one you can look by yourself lah. Same answer. Okay, so client procedure include what? This one is before acceptance, more general. So what the auditor do? Establish the identity of the entity in business activity, like just now I told you lah. Obtain certificate of incorporation if it's a business, if it's an entity. If it's a client, it's individual. I also told you just now, what do you get? You get their passport, their official documentation, driving license, you identify this person. No? Okay, whether they are the right person, whether they is it any illegal person like using the fake identity. Okay, because a lot of people like they have so many identity. Okay, so you also have to consider whether the commercial activity make business sense or not. Okay, like nowadays a lot of shop right in front is like they are selling food, nasi goreng, maggi goreng, but at the back is gambling gambling shop or gambling cafe lah. Okay, actually like they are covering the money. They say I sell something, maybe actually the money is from gambling, but they say the money is from from the meal or from the restaurant. Okay, and after that you get evidence of the company registered address, obtain the principal, shareholder and director. Okay, so you no need to write too many answer lah, depend on the mark. Okay, so after acceptance here, more detail lor. So what should you know? Source of the client fund. You have to know where do they get the money from? Is it investor? Is it from bank or from family member and extra? Okay, and then pre-engagement communication may consider and explain to the person and director, okay, the reason of client acceptance procedure. Why are you going to do the checking and review, for example? Okay, and next one will be business model of the company. Okay, you want to know what activity they do, the model, where do they focus, whether they diversify their business or not. Okay, whether they have any relationship in the company that in oversee and extra. Okay, so you can see money laundering, the scope is not too wide, always within the scope here. Okay, so we have done with this question. And next one, we will go for the last question for today. The last question will be water. Water also very short. So here, money laundering. B. Okay. So the audit strategy relevant to audit of water conclude that the company has a relatively high risk associated with money laundering. Why high risk? Because of cash-based nature. Okay, so the majority of customers purchase their cinema ticket and replacement in cash. So when cash come in, class in exam, you have to be very careful. When cash come in, you have to be very alert. The company might involve money laundering. Okay, because you are auditor, you have to exercise professional skepticism. Okay, and the company transfer its cash to overseas bank account on regular basis or overseas bank account. So you know which stage already lor. Just now the first one placement they put money into financial system mah. Okay, layering they transfer to the different area mah. Integration mean they take back everything and then become legal. They can buy something mah. So later you can apply lor. Okay, so explain the stages using in money laundering, commenting why water has been identified high risk. Easy, right? Okay, so how many stages? 3. Placement, layering, integration. I already explained. If you put these 3 things with explanation, you will get 3 marks. And commenting why water has been identified at high risk, so another 2 more marks will be allocated here. Okay, why high risk? Because of cash nature lah. So the first answer will be placement. Okay, layering, integration. If you write, explain, you get mark. Have to link back to the case lah. Okay, so why high risk? Because they put the wait you have to go back here. Why high risk? Because of cash-based nature, and because of they transfer the cash to overseas on regular basis. Okay, so these 2, if you write, you can get another 2 marks. Okay, so you can see now they're applying here. You see, placement. They're applying here. How to get mark? Because the customer paid in cash, so will be easy for genuine and illegal cash to mix up and bank. So this is the example. Okay, why high risk? Because Waterco transfer sum of cash to overseas bank account, indicating layering may be taking place. So these 2. Okay, so can you see or not? Okay, so the last one for today. Recommend 4 elements of anti-money laundering program. Just now, they ask you the first question, they ask you policy and procedure. And now they ask you anti-money laundering program. So in the lecture note, if you still remember, I put a slash there. They are the same. Okay, so 4 things will appear again. Appointment at MLRO, enhanced record keeping, client identification procedure, communication and training. If you write that, you will get full mark with detailed explanation. Okay, so I don't want to go through again. Just now we went through there. Okay, so appointment of money laundering reporting officer. So I told you the keyword who is the person can be at the higher level of the senior partner in the audit firm. Okay, so what do? They will communicate, they will receive the report from their colleague, I told you already just now, and then if it's necessary, they'll report to National Crime Agency. Okay, so this one, there's also an element of anti-money laundering program. This one is like training and communication. Okay, a training is essential. Why training? You have to let the auditor know how to recognize money laundering, how to report, okay, and then make sure they avoid tipping off issue. Okay, and I also told you before they accept the client, they have to do the customer due diligence, know your client. If it's individual, you check their license, you check their passport. If it's under the entity and business, you check their certificate of incorporation and extra. Okay, and then the last one, maintain record of the client. So what record do you maintain? Two things you record. Okay, working paper, all the relevant paper you keep for 5 years, and any other thing like the money laundering report, okay, you also have to keep for 5 years. So that's all for the answer. Can you see, money laundering cannot run away. Definition, example of the money laundering, three stages of the money laundering, the policy and procedure, or the anti-money laundering program. Okay, so you need to be aware. Okay, sometime maybe I give you a short case. Okay, I make sure, okay, I want to ensure that you're able to apply. Okay, so that's all for today, and I will see you next week. So next week we will be covering